Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we've got this incredible stack of sources that all point to one thing.
Intense pressure.
Exactly, intense pressure. We're looking at how major institutions, banks, governments, tech giants, you name it, are responding. We have four really distinct, really critical stories.
And the thread connecting them is this idea of acceleration, or in one case, a kind of strategic stalling that's just as interesting,
It is. We're going from a massive Korea-Japan digital finance project.
to a really frustrating dilemma in Korea's climate policy around carbon capture. Then we'll hit Samsung's latest executive moves, and finally, Genesis's big bet on high-performance luxury.
Right. So our mission here is to connect those dots for you so you don't just know what happened, but you get the why, the strategic thinking behind it all.
These stories absolutely don't happen in a vacuum. I think we should start with finance, because the pace right now in banking is it's breathtaking. And Project Pax is the perfect example.
Project Pax. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
the Korea-Japan stablecoin remittance project we've been tracking. But the news now is the sheer scale of the buy-in.
It's massive. We just got confirmation that KB Kookmin Bank and Worry Bank are officially in.
Wow.
And that wasn't a given. They're joining basically signals that the entire Korean banking sector sees this as, well, as essential, not just some side experiment anymore.
And just so you have the full picture, they're joining Shinhan Bank, NH Nonghype, and K-Bank, who've been in since March.
So that's all five. The big five commercial banks are all in on this pilot.
And where did this project even start?
It kicked off in September last year. It was actually spearheaded by Japan's three mega banks, Mitsubishi UFJ, Mizuho, and Sumitomo Mitsui, through their joint venture, Progmat.
So this is the biggest of the big in both countries coming together.
They're trying to replace the old, slow, expensive remittance system. That's the goal.
So boil it down for us. What's the core experiment here? Is this just a faster wire transfer or something genuinely new?
It is genuinely new. It's about direct, secure exchange of stablecoins between Korea and Japan. They're specifically testing Korean won stablecoins for these international transfers.
So instant settlement, 24/7, no currency conversion lag.
Exactly. But here's the detail that makes the traditional banks and, more importantly, the regulators comfortable with all this.
Okay.
They're not throwing out the old rulebook. It's fascinating because while it's using blockchain, Project Pax is still running on the existing SWIFT network.
Wait, hold on. Why layer new stablecoin tech over the old SWIFT network? Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose?
It minimizes the risk, which, if you're a regulator, is everything. SWIFT is the global standard for secure messaging.
So it's got all the compliance baked in.
All the anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing structures are already there. So for the banks, this makes the whole project scalable and, the crucial part, approvable. They're avoiding the Wild West feel of pure crypto.
That makes perfect sense. They're putting the digital engine into a frame they know is compliant. So KB and Woori are now on board, pushing into phase 2, a proof of concept. Why the big rush from the Korean side right now?
It's pressure from two sides. Domestically, stablecoin regulation in Korea is coming, and it's coming fast. The banks need to be ready.
And externally.
They see Japan moving ahead. I mean, Japan's financial sector is embracing this faster. You have companies like JPYC already issuing yen stablecoins.
Oh, okay.
So the Korean banks are looking at that and saying, we need to build these partnerships with the Japanese mega banks now so we don't get left behind. It's a land grab for the future of payments.
A story of rapid adoption.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. From speed to a dead stop. We're talking climate policy, specifically carbon capture and storage, or CCS.
And this one is a story of a huge policy conflict. The headline is that the East Sea CCS pilot project, its preliminary feasibility study, the Utah, has been withdrawn again.
This is the second time, right?
The second time this vital project has just failed to move forward.
And the project itself, I mean, on paper, it sounds perfect. Use old gas fields in the East Sea, bury about 1.2 million tons of CO2 every year. So why did they pull the application? Again.
The ministry pulled it right before the Financial Project Evaluation Committee was set to review it. They basically knew it wouldn't pass.
And the reason they gave?
The official reason was that the project lacked economic feasibility, that phrase.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It means the cost of capturing, shipping, and storing that CO2 is just deemed too high compared to the benefit.
And this is where the paradox is, right? Because the government's own climate commitments seem to depend entirely on this technology. They just set the 2035 target, the NDC, at a 61% reduction.
An incredibly aggressive, headline-grabbing 61%. And to back that up, they promised to bury 20 million tons of CO2 by 2035.
20 million.
Yeah.
And an interim goal of about 11 million by 2030.
Right. So the government has this massive climate goal that assumes CCS will work at scale and at a reasonable cost.
But the actual pilot project, to prove the tech can work, is repeatedly being called too expensive to even get started. How does that even work?
It doesn't. You can't square that circle. It shows this deep structural problem. CCS isn't just a nice-to-have in their plan, it's a primary tool, especially for industries that are hard to decarbonize.
So if the core mechanism keeps failing, a basic economic test.
It suggests the 2035 target is either totally unrealistic or it's built on some really flawed financial assumptions.
So for you, the listener, what's the real consequence of this delay? What does this actually mean?
It means the burden just gets shifted, the CO2 doesn't disappear. If the government can't bury it, the pressure to reduce emissions falls so much harder on other sectors.
We're talking about heavy industry.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Steel, cement, petrochemicals. They're now facing much tougher regulations, maybe higher carbon prices, or being forced to adopt incredibly expensive alternatives. The failure of this one project puts a huge unplanned economic burden on the entire industrial base.
A technical failure today becomes a massive economic headache for the whole country tomorrow.
Wow. Okay, so let's move from that kind of macro policy gridlock to micro-corporate strategy. Samsung Electronics. Their recent executive shuffle it's fascinating. It's this blend of stability at the top with a really radical push for new tech talent.
They're definitely sticking with what works, right?
Yeah.
Formalizing that two-top management structure.
Absolutely. Jin-Young Hin is still heading up DS Device Solutions, the semiconductor arm. And No Tae Moon is now officially the CEO of DX, the device experience side, while still running the mobile division.
Just a sign of trust from Chairman Lee Jae-young. I mean,
Yeah.
the Galaxy lineup has been a huge success, and the chip business is expected to recover.
They're rewarding that stability. But, and this is the really interesting part, they're simultaneously future-proofing. The new hires they brought in show exactly where they think the next battle will be won.
The R&D appointments are the real story here.
They're stunning. The biggest one is hiring Park Hong-gun as president of SAIT, the Samsung Advanced Institute of Technology. This is a Harvard professor, a world-renowned expert in neuromorphic semiconductors.
Neuromorphic semiconductors. Okay, that sounds like something from a sci-fi movie.
Mhm.
Can you break that down? Why is that specific expertise so important that they're bringing in a top academic for it?
For sure. So current chips, even the fastest ones, are basically linear. They process data one step at a time. Neuromorphic chips are designed to mimic the human brain.
Okay.
They process data in parallel, they're way more energy efficient, and they're built to handle messy, unstructured data in real time. This is the bedrock for the next generation of AI, the stuff that goes way beyond today's language models.
So Samsung is basically betting on the next computing paradigm.
Exactly. To stay ahead of TSMC and NVIDIA, they feel they have to dominate this new frontier. It's a huge bet on foundational research.
And it wasn't just him. Yoon Jang-hoon was also promoted to president to be the CTO for the DX side and head of Samsung Research. What's the combined mission for these two?
Their job is to find what Samsung calls the future eating opportunities.
Okay, I like that.
It means they're in charge of the high-risk, high-reward research-advanced AI chips, next-gen tech, and crucially, they're also leading strategic M&A. By putting deep tech experts in charge of R&D and acquisitions, Samsung is making sure every dollar they invest is aimed at winning the future of brain-inspired computing.
Let's end on something of a celebration. It's the 10th anniversary of Hyundai's luxury brand, Genesis. And they are not just, cutting a cake, they're trying to redefine the brand for the next 10 years.
You really are. The big reveal was the GV60 Magma, their first mass-produced high-performance model.
And this is more than just a faster car, isn't it? It's a strategic pivot.
A huge one. For the last decade, Genesis has been about global luxury, comfort, design, prestige. Now they're making a hard turn into luxury high performance.
To compete with the Germans.
To compete with BMW's M, Mercedes-AMG, Audi's RS, you have to play in that space to be considered a top-tier global luxury brand.
And the specs on this GV60 Magna are meant to make a statement. I mean, we're talking about a car that's expected early next year with 650 horsepower.
It's a pure performance statement. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 3.4 seconds. A top speed near 265. When Hyundai's president said, Magma is the most maximized Genesis, he meant it. This is their halo car.
Injecting some excitement into the whole brand.
Exactly. Performance is what validates luxury at that price point.
And Genesis has already been so successful. They hit 1 million global sales last year, less than 8 years after launching. How does this high-performance shift help their sales targets?
It's critical. They're selling in the low 200,000s annually right now. The goal is 350,000 by 2030.
A big jump.
A huge jump. They can't get there with just their current lineup. The Magma line is designed to attract a new, younger, wealthier buyer, and they're backing it up with other new models too, like the big GV90 electric SUV and more hybrids. The performance angle provides the emotional pull to justify the premium price across the entire brand.
So Magma isn't just about selling fast cars. It's about lifting the perception of the entire Genesis portfolio.
Exactly right. And when you step back and look at all four of these stories, the need for speed in finance, the failure to launch a key climate technology, Samsung's hunt for talent, Genesis's expansion, they're all about the immense cost of ambition.
That's a great way to put it.
Whether that cost is technical, financial, or operational, every one of these institutions is grappling with how to turn these huge, ambitious goals into a reality that actually works on the ground.
We saw that ambition so clearly with that 61% climate target, but we also saw the cold reality of economic feasibility kill the project meant to achieve it. And that raises a really challenging question for you, the listener, to think about. If burying carbon keeps proving to be too expensive, if that technological fix just fails to materialize, what other policies, non-technological, maybe politically painful policies like higher taxes or strict industry mandates, might the Korean government be forced to use to meet its 2035 climate commitments?
That political and economic reckoning, that's the story we'll be watching.
An essential thought to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you feel thoroughly informed.